What's up? What's up? On YouTube now? Whoa. Wonder wonder if the YouTube stream is working. Am I able to make it so that it streams only to YouTube Shorts? Or is that not a thing? Is there So I'm trying to stream to YouTube Shorts and it seems like there's a lot of stuff that I have to do separately on there, but we'll keep it up for now. Probably not going to be playing Pokemon today, or not TCGL at least, cuz I played a lot of Pokemon this weekend already. And honestly, I'm kind of done with the current format. I'm really ready to for Temporal Forces to really come out and start testing for Orlando, because none of the decks now would really translate over. I also did one last challenge today. There's cups next week, but I don't know if I'm going to do a cup in the current format. I'm kind of like, yeah, it's just kind of pointless, but who knows? Who knows how I'll feel in a week? I'm actually going to change this to just the Pokemon trading card game instead of the live. But yeah, that's did back-to-back Temporal Forces pre-releases this weekend, and they're really fun. It's a really fun pre-release set. I think when I was first looking up the cards, it kind of seemed like Miraidon and Koraidon would be the top decks at pre-release, but honestly, they all have their own merits. So let's see if we can find some of these cards, because I don't. The only one I don't have is for Alligator. Ended up doing two. I got Matang in both of them, but let's take a look at Justin Basil's pre-release site before we go diving into my deck, because you can kind of see what's in everything, and you let me know if you think it's better to be, which deck you think is the best. Here's Justin Basil. Let's see now. I think he has. Where is? You know what's better? If I just do Justin Basil pre-release, it's probably the better way to find this instead of going through his website. Actually, I think I found it through Reddit the other day, but here's the actual site. So let's just skip straight to the decks here. There's a Feraligatr, which my face is blocking. Feraligatr. This thing's a heavy hitter. I think it really is only useful if you're going to be playing against someone that has an EX. I've played against a whole bunch of these yesterday, and having a Feraligatr sit on your bench is very threatening, just because they can just swing for 280. But pretty awesome story about that one, which I'll get to. I think it was my game 2 against Feraligatr was a really fun game. We had potential sudden death. It was very close to it. So Matang, I think, is one of the ones that are pretty hyped. And this is the one where you can look at the top 4 cards of your deck, take any Steel Energy, attach them to your Pokemon, and then put the rest of it onto the bottom of the deck, so you get a better chance of hitting it next turn. So I actually ended up getting Matangs for both days of pre-orders, and it's pretty good. I think it's a very fun card to play as well, especially because Metagross just just steamrolls people. It's so buff. Metagross. Okay, so Metagross can't. It goes Japanese card. So I'll just show you the actual card that I have. Koraidon is also really cool. I think the guy that won Saturday's pre-release was playing a ancient box deck, and then Miraidon I think definitely is the one that had the most hype with the peak acceleration to get the 2 energies onto your future Pokemon any way you like, because that's gonna definitely be meta when it comes out. And I think also it's just really fun in the pre-release because you can just get all your energies out of your deck, and you know, thinning is winning, and you're also all charged up for everything to go. So day 1, I had the primary Metang deck and secondary Miraidon deck. It was pretty cool. I actually ended up pulling 2 EXs, so let's see if we can get into that. So I think I already took apart my deck, but pretty sure we can find the cards here. I had actually saved this boxed order for potentially putting into my GLC deck, but that's because I missed the bottom of the card, which actually says, so this card basically lets you play it to search for 2 item cards in your deck, and then when after that, your turn ends. So you can't even play the item cards. Otherwise, it would be pretty broken. So I had it out in front, but honestly, it's not going to be played. So here is my Metang with the little stamp on it. Pretty cool. I also pulled this extremely cute Grottle. It has a Mareep on it. Super, super cute. Hopefully... I don't know. It's just a really pretty card. I'm all about it. And then I also pulled 2 of these EXs. The Raging Bolt EX, Long Neck Full Art, and also a Iron Boulder EX. Iron Boulder EX is a pretty exciting pull because I think a lot of decks are going to be playing, like future decks will probably be playing this to counter Arceus. And it's also just a pretty fun card to play in pre-release, but I think mostly going to be used to counter Arceus. You can use a Repulsor Axe for, and if you just have, like the Iron Crowns on the bench and the future booster capsule, you can potentially Oko a Arceus turn 1 going second. If you can get the energy on there, something with, I don't know, generators or something. So I had both of these in my deck. Honestly, Raging Bolt probably wasn't as useful as I was hoping for, because if I could get all the energy onto my single prizer Pokemon, they were pretty much going to be attacking anything anyways. And I didn't bump into anyone else that was playing EXs, so that wasn't really a thing. Iron Boulder was really good though. So game 1, I played against another Miraidon deck. So in the Miraidon deck, let's start with this. I had the Metang line. I completely cut out the Metang line because I got a whole bunch of pretty awesome future Pokemon, so I figured I would just build a future deck. One of the main ones you're going to be running into is... Where is my deck? Yeah, so I was running a 4 of Miraidon. I already pulled one of them out to go into my Dragon GLC deck, so that's kind of whatever. I was actually running 5 of these Iron Thorns. I think I have one more somewhere. 1 Iron Valiant. Yeah, here's the other Iron Thorn. So 5 Iron Thorns and an Iron Valiant. Iron Valiant didn't get used at all, but Iron Thorns is pretty interesting. The first attack is for 2 energies, 70 damage times. Reveal the top 5 cards of your deck. This attack does 70 to each future card you find there. Then discard the future, shuffle everything back into the deck. So I had 5 of those. It could be a very heavy hitter. That's a little bit of RNG in there, but it's all good. I also had a Skittle or a Skitty, which lets me search for a basic Pokemon and put it onto your bench. The thing I don't really understand is because there's also a Chatot card that I pulled today, and that thing has a move that lets you just get 3 basic Pokemon for the same energy. So not sure why this is so much worse, but we can look at those side by side in a second. I also had a Mr. Mime. So I was really low on trainer cards, so I ended up playing this Mr. Mime, which lets you basically, for 1 colorless energy, you get to first see your opponent's hand and then also use one of their supporters as the effects of the card. So that could be really useful, just because I was really low on support and any kind of trainers. I had a rescue board, which didn't really honestly, it wasn't really too useful because all of my future Pokemon were really really chunky, and having one retreat cost removed didn't do anything. But and once I get to 30 HP, you're pretty screwed. So that didn't really do much. I did have two capsules, which was really awesome. Hand trimmer came in clutch. Hand trimmer probably won me a game. Uh, Morty's Conviction, pretty awesome card. Discard this. You can use this card if you discard a card in your hand. Draw a card for each of your opponent's bench Pokemon. Pretty useful because a lot of people are trying to go wide in this format, especially in pre-release. I think a lot of because if you play against Koraidon, they just need like a full bench of ancients. For Alligator and Metang are both setup decks, so you're just gonna see a whole bunch of spongy Pokemon on the bench. Cypher Mania Code Breaking. This card actually kind of screwed me. It's the one where you can search for two cards in your deck and then put them on top of your deck in any order. Unless you have like immediate draw support that turn, this card kind of sucks. So I did not have immediate draw support this turn, unless I was going to Metang to get the energies up. So there's that, but I actually cut the Metang out of my main line. Then I had a couple other random energies. I should have probably just kept the Metang line because I had this full metal lab, and it would have basically reduces 30 damage from steel Pokemon. That would have, I could have been pretty broken. Also got a Jacques, which I couldn't play because I pulled the Metang line out, and a Buddy Poffin, which I also couldn't play because I pulled the Metang out. So game one was really exciting. It really went down to the wire. We were both at one prize cards left, and it came down to an Iron Thorns. This is the one again where you can attack for 2 energy to reveal the top 5 cards of your deck. Discard any future Pokemon, shuffle the other ones back into your deck, and it does 70 damage for each one of those Pokemon. So there was this one turn where this was the only thing I had on the bench. I could only get 2 energies onto it. I was one prize away, and basically I had an 8-card hand. I had so many cards in my hand. At least three of them were future Pokemon. So I used Hand Trimmer, which makes both you and your opponent discard cards until you have 5 cards in your hand. Used Hand Trimmer to discard all my future Pokemon, and then Miriamed them back into the deck. Then to use Iron Thorns, and I just had hit enough future Pokemon to win the game. So that was really exciting. It was also against a fellow Miraidon deck. I think they probably had a secondary for Alligator. And again, I'm pretty sure they did because I had the Iron Bolt EX in deck, but being a 2-prizer in pre-release and only having 230 HP and for Alligator can hit you for 280 is just way too much of a liability. So I ended up not using my EXs that much because of for Alligator. The second game I also played against the for Alligator, and that one was interesting because we almost went to sudden death, which is honestly wild. Like, that's just wild. I don't really remember what the second line of Pokemon they played. It might have been Miraidon. I don't think it was Miraidon, though. But what it came down to was I had an Iron Boulder in the active. They had 2 prizes left to take. Maybe 1 prize. I don't know. But whatever. Their next knockout won. I had the Iron Boulder in the active. Well, they just knocked out one of my Pokemon. So Iron Boulder goes in. I think it was for Alligator, actually. For Alligator, and they actually had a Relicanth. I forgot that part. That was wild. So this guy had a Relicanth, and we're gonna have to actually look up that card because I don't have one. It's a pretty cool card. I hope I get one. Where's Temporal Forces 84? Okay, whatever. It has an ability where each of your evolved Pokemon can use attacks from the previous evolutions. And I don't exactly remember what the attacks were on the Totodile and the Croconaw. I think it's Croconaw. But I might have those. I think I have those cards. Let's see if I can find them. I think I pulled those today. Where are you at? Carvana, Croconaw, and a Totodile. Yeah, I got 2 reverse hollows of those. So let's read what these do. I'm pretty sure. Alright, so Totodile, it's right here. It does Big Bite. During your opponent's next turn, defending Pokemon cannot retreat. Cool. And there's a Crocodile with reverse thrust, which lets you switch this Pokemon on your bench. Alright, so they used reverse thrust, I think, to knock out one of my Pokemon, which means they could have attacked next turn, because if you look at Feraligatr, it actually says if you use the Feraligatr attack, it won't be able to you can't attack next turn. So it came down to a Feraligatr with damage on it, and it was just enough damage too. I think they're 180 HP, and there was 100 damage on the Feraligatr. No. I think it's okay. So I think the math is 180 HP, and the Feraligatr had 5, at maybe 50 damage on it. So I promote Iron Boulder, right? So Iron Boulder has an attack called Repulsor X, where on your opponent's turn, if this Pokemon is damaged by an attack, put 8 damage counters on the attacking Pokemon. So that means that if he attacks me with the Feraligatr 280 damage, right? If he attacks for 280, he would have to use the ability, which puts 5 damage counters on the Feraligatr, which makes it 100. And if it attacks me, I put 8 damage counters on it. So if I do that, that would knock out both of our Pokemon, and we would get sudden death in a pre-release. Like, how wild is that? We actually had to check with the judge, because I don't play Roaring Moon, and I'm pretty sure the kid I play against also doesn't play Roaring Moon. So, and when I say kid, I mean literal kid. I think he was probably in middle school. Played well though. So we talked to the judge, and the judge was just like, "Well, I guess in pre-release it's supposed to be a draw, but we should probably just play sudden death because I find it interesting." I'm like, "Okay, cool." Unfortunately, we did not go to sudden death. He unfortunately whiffed the energy, couldn't do the attack, and could only do the Crocodile attack again for the next turn for like 30 damage. So I ended up taking that victory, because the second attack on Iron Boulder is Power Stomp, 3 energies, 200 damage, discard 2 energies from Pokemon. That would have knocked out anything he had. So that was that. The third game, I did a lot of misplaying. I was playing against a really good player, and I had Miraidon in the active, and I was able to charge up the first turn, and then the second turn, I had a decision to make. So he had a pretty empty bench. He had 1 Iron Thorns that had the 2 energy on it, and I'm pretty sure he actually even whiffed the Destructo Press as well. So 1 Iron Thorns in the active, a Shaman on the bench, and nothing else. And the Shaman was really just his pivot. It's a 0 energy retreat, and I don't know if he attacks with it or not. But I decided turn 1 to charge up my Miraidon so I can do 160 the next turn and just basically take out his only attacker. In hindsight, that is always the bad move. Keep accelerating energy, especially because I play a Raging Bolt in this deck, where I need to discard energy to do damage. So that was probably a misplay for me. The other misplay too is I played Cryptographic or Cipher Maniacs, something, whatever. The one that lets you put 2 cards on top of your deck in any order you want. So I played that supporter. I didn't think I really needed it too much, but I just figured, hey, I have 2 supporters in hand. I might as well play one. The other one, I think, wouldn't have really had an effect, whatever it was. So I played the Crypto Cipher Maniac, put 2 cards on top of my deck, and then I realized I had to do Accelerator Charge on the Miraidon, which we take a look at that. Where is it? Just keep losing all my cards. Is it over here? Yeah, no, it's over here. So, Peak Acceleration lets you attach 2 basic energy cards to your future Pokemon in any way you like. So I had to do that, and then you shuffle your deck, so I just completely nullified my Cipher Maniac. So that was kind of lame, but whatever. So, and the last game, what happened in the last game? I think I lost the last game. Pretty sure I just bricked it. It was a very bad. Oh no, actually I played again against Matang last game, and Matang was that's when I realized I shouldn't have cut the Matang line, and just not relied so much on a future deck because when Matang in a 40 card deck is just such a high chance of you hitting all those steel energies. So, yeah, this guy was basically just slapping me with Metagross and knocking out everything I had. So, yesterday ended up 2-2, which got me a couple additional booster packs where I pulled nothing but a Gengar EX, which I gave to my boy Vlad because he is a huge Gengar fan and he's giving me random cards in the past, so I figured I'd return the favor. Super dope. Yeah, but aside from that, these are my hits. Again, I got this Raging Bolt EX, which is probably the funnest one. I got this actually, no, I think the Grotto's the funnest one. Although Raging Bolt might actually get played. And the Iron Boulder, which came in clutch for me multiple games. Looking back, probably shouldn't have even played the Raging Bolt. I think it just... I mean, I thought that I would be doing so much acceleration with Miraidon that I could be discarding energy all game long, but honestly, it's not that great. So, that was that. All right. Moving along to day 2. Oh, game 1 was at Omar's, by the way. Omar's in Lexington. Good times. Oh, so I ended up 2-2, but I was the best 2-2 player, which is kind of cool. And I ended up getting prizing for 7th place, getting the best 2-2 by resistance. I did not expect that, so that was a nice treat. Which is why I got the 3 extra packs and didn't pull anything. That is one Temporal Forces box. Alright. Let's see what else we got here. So I have my day 2 cards. I don't think there was really too much going on. No, actually day 2 I pulled a Prime Catcher, so I'm pretty happy about that. That's going to be really useful. I don't think I was going to play that card right off the bat, but it's nice to have the Prime Catcher. I also pulled an Eerie, which will definitely be going into one of my decks. And I had the quadruple Koraidon. So day 2 was all about Koraidon, and once again I got Matang. So good thing I played that game 4 yesterday because it really made me realize that I definitely should, play the RNG game and play Matang. So day 2, primary Koraidon, secondary Matang. I don't know what it is about Matang, but my initial thought, because I pulled a Roaring Moon, the baby Roaring Moon, which is super dope. So when I pulled that, I'm just like, I should definitely play Ancient Box. I also got a second Ancient Booster Capsule and also a second Explorer's Guide. So Roaring Moon can potentially hit hard. I had plenty of Ancient Pokemon for the bench. Unfortunately, I think I only topped out at about 10 Pokemon when it came to building an Ancient Box. And I just maybe that was enough, but I didn't think it was enough at the time, so I ended up scrapping the entire Koraidon line. So first I tried to shove the Matang line into the Koraidon line, and I'm just gonna say that doesn't work because Matang works best with 2 Matangs, and you've got Koraidon, which you need bench space for ancient Pokemon. So I decided to cut the Koraidon, throw the Matang line in, kept the Raging Bolt, or the Roaring Moon, kept the Iron Valiant, or not the Iron Valiant, the Fluttermane. The Fluttermanes are pretty cool. They're 3 colorless energies, so I could use the Matang to accelerate to them. I could also accelerate to the Roaring Moon, or the Baby Moon. Actually, I still have the deck. Let's look at the actual deck itself. So, here is the deck. Here is the sweet old Prime Catcher. I am very, very excited about this pull. I was running these Great Tusks, which actually kind of suck, and I accidentally cheated on one of the games because it has an attack called Wrathful Charge, which for 3 energy does 80 plus another 80 if there are any damage counters on your benched Pokemon. I had damage counters on the active, and I thought it was 160, and I said, "Oh yeah, knock out your Iron Thorns, or Iron whatever Thorns I think it is," and of course these are new ass cards, so the guy was just like, "All right, well, cool." And then we realized a turn later that was a complete cheat. So I basically just told him that, look, If you win, you win. If I win, let's just call it a tie, or you can have the game. Whatever. It doesn't really matter. I already lost the first games. That was game two, and I had no wait. Was that game two? Nah, that might have been game one. Yeah, that was game one. But I play this guy a lot, and it's not too big. I didn't want to do him dirty, and I wasn't too happy with the deck because looking back, I was so annoyed at making this mistake that I just wanted to pull the card out. Let's see what else do I have here. Baby Roaring Moon, super super awesome. This is what prompted me to really play that. The full on ancient deck. So I'm running like 15 energies in this deck. It's kind of wild. Game one was especially bad because I think the opening hand I had like 4 energies in it, and a youngster. So the next turn I youngstered into 5 energy. So definitely too many energies in this deck, and I also prized some of my Matang line. I prized the Prime Catcher, and it just wasn't a good setup. I couldn't get any Beldams down. I couldn't really do much except for I couldn't even charge up the Koraidon. I couldn't find the Sadas. There's nothing going on for me that game. So that was a poor loss. Game two, everything went well. Matangs were once the Matangs are firing off, you're pretty good to go. I never found the second dark energy that I needed to attack with Roaring Moon. Or it used Vengeful or Vengeance Fletching, the one that does more for like each ancient in your discard. Instead, I only got the Speedwing off because I was charging up for Matangs. Just so much, so much steel energy going in. Hi, Pokemon. Thanks for joining. And thanks for following. So, yeah, won that one. I think my opponent also bricked pretty hard. There wasn't really too much going on there. I just was swinging with Matangs and heavy hitters and getting steel energy on everyone. Actually, he almost decked me out because I had so many energies. And he just prime. So he also had a Prime Catcher. So he Prime Catchered my Meltan or Matang into the active with no energy, and all my steel had already been Matanged out. Fortunately, I had I had a fighting and a dark left in the deck, so I basically just drew into a retreat and called that game. Game three. What happened? Game three. Did I win game three? Or did I lose game three? I think I might have lost game three. What did I play against? Whatever. Guess it wasn't that memorable of a game. And then game four, I played against my boy Mike's friend Jeff, and he was very new to Pokemon. So the game didn't last too long. Also, I have Prime Catcher. Yeah, so that was my experience with pre-release. I think the Prime Catcher was really the only hit I got, which I will not complain about. I wonder how much those are going for right now. Let's see. See what the TCG player says. Prime Catcher. In Pokemon. No one's even selling Prime Catchers yet. Okay, so we have no idea how much a Prime Catcher. Maybe eBay? Prime Catcher, $39, $45 with 7 bids. Whoa. All the Japanese ones are flying all over the place. 44. Bidding starting. That's really exciting. Okay, so cool. Yeah, basically the Prime Catcher paid for my entry fee and all these cards. So very, very exciting. I think that's all I really got out of day 2 though. Pretty sure that's all I got out of day 2. Oh, well, so remember how I told y'all that I gave Vlad that Gengar the day before? So he actually pulled one of these, Iron Leaves, which I need for my Artina deck coming up. So he actually just gave this back. He gave this to me and for giving him the Gengar. So thank you, Vlad, my man. So yeah, that was back-to-back pre-releases, Saturday and Sunday. It was a lot of Pokemon. So much Pokemon that I decided to do another challenge after with another, basically playing the last of my Rapid Strike deck before it rotates out and I can never play it again, which will be very sad because it's a very fun deck to play. I also finally beat my boy Joey, Italian Delight. with the Rapid Strike against his Gardevoir. That was very satisfying. But ended up also going, I think we went 3-2 there. So only participation prizes. Got 2 prize packs, which I guess I might as well just rip now. Because why not, right? So let's start with the 3 and let's see what we get. Prize pack 3. Let's get it. Oh no, I ripped it. These are getting very rippy. I actually like to keep the plastics on these. I don't know why. I'm weird. See what we got here. Don't care. Here could be fun. Reggie Steele, a Jacques. Oh, cool, a boss. I'll take that. I'll take a boss. And we have a prize pack 4. But yeah, I think this is my second. This is my first hollow one. I think my other boss doesn't have. My other stamp boss doesn't have the hollow, so that's pretty cool. I haven't opened too many of these 4s yet, so let's see what we get in here. Won't be opening any temporal forces now, unfortunately. The boys are all they all wanted me to rip them in store. So none of that for now, but we do have a booster box coming in, multiple actually, but I might rip one. If it comes in before Friday release, I'm definitely going to rip it on stream. It's going to be exciting. Arvin, Charm, another boss, Beach Cord, Water Energy. Cool. Well, that is what we got here. All the prize packs. Super excited for this set. This is going to be a really fun set. I think as far as pre-release goes, I've gone to every pre-release since Scarlet Violet, and I think this one is by far the funnest one. Yeah, it's just a really fun format. I thought everything was very evenly matched. Having the A spec in the deck is kind of wild. It's I don't think it like overpowered the game because most people are not going to pull an A spec in a pre-release, right? You're only getting 4 booster packs that you can get one from, and the first day I didn't have the A spec, and I felt like I did fine. Even though I bumped into some people with A specs, but having this Prime Catcher, super exciting. So I think this is going to be a really fun set. I'm very excited for rotation. There's going to be a very weird 2-week period where we will have the new cards, but it also won't be rotated yet. So that's going to be fun to do. I don't know if I want to do that, actually. I might just play with the boys. Play with Team 03 drop so that we're actually testing for Orlando. Yeah, that is about it. So if you are also excited about Temporal Forces, drop some comments below. If you want to see me rip this booster box coming up soon, and probably another stream when we're gonna have like a Temporal Forces party with a couple of the guys, and we basically got a booster box case and we're gonna be ripping it. So see about streaming that, get all these cards out, see what the pull rates are. It's gonna be really fun. And then I think we'll also create some content with all the deck testing, because we're gonna be trading around, so we all have our decks that we're gonna be playing with once we go to regionals. Personally, I think I'm going either Future Hands or Arctina. Arctina is gonna be good just because I already know how to play the deck, and honestly, the new cards that come in just solve the deck. Like losing Path in Arctina is not very good, but having Eerie is probably just as good, because Path kind of just it potentially can screw you too. So I'm pretty excited. You can still judge, you can still Iono. There's still a lot of disruption. And Max Spell just fixes all the math. Sad I won't be able to play my Prime Catcher, but Max Belt will fix all the math, and Iron Leaves will be very good for the Charizard matchup, which Charizard is just one of the toughest matchups for Arceus, I think. So it's just going to be an interesting game. Future Hands also seems really fun. I also already have all the Miraidons for it, although I do need to go find myself some more Iron Hands. I do not have enough Iron Hands. So Thank you again for joining Comfey Cove and watching the stream. Watch me talking about temporal forces. I hope you're excited for the set. If you like what you see, give me a follow. We'll keep improving this channel and seeing what we can do to create some better content, because Pokemon is just so exciting. Like, so exciting. So with that, I hope everyone has a great week. Toodaloo.